Universal or
It was.
okay.
It was across the board.
All right, we should be going. We're good.
We are good.
All right, George. So George, make George host again, and George, if you could make me co-host.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
We'll go ahead and mute video and audio.
David, I can't see anybody's video. Like all the videos on the side have disappeared. Is that right? Oh, there we go.
I just turned off my mic in my video, but I'll leave it on to give you a level of comfort that we haven't lost the meeting. I'll just mute myself.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Oh, no, that's all right. You can turn it off. Thanks.
George, I do see your crowd of people arriving.
I'm just trying to work out who the person listed as owner is.
Fair enough. I just want to make sure you were aware. Thank you.
Yep, thanks. Hi, everybody. We'll get going in a minute. We're waiting on Laura Bowser.
Hello, George.
Alana.
Hello, this is Lori.
Hi, Lori.
Hi there.
This is George.
Hi,
This is
George.
Rick.
Hi,
Can you hear
Lana.
me? George, this is Rick. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Okay. And there ought to be a video, actually. I just bought a camera. So let's see. Up there I am. Okay.
Hi, Mr. Worthington. This is Travania Brown Hughes. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Bye.
Hi. Please call me George.
Okay.
George, can you see me? It's Chris.
I can see you, Chris. How are you?
Oh, good. I can't see me. So as long as I'm around.
Yep, you're there.
Okay.
So, Laura, it's 1 o'clock and we have a quorum. So if you'd like to go ahead.
Yeah, so first off, welcome everyone and thank you. I know this was a little bit last minute. And just to start, I want to welcome the newest members to the commission. So we have several and I'm just going to quickly run through their names. So Travania Brown Hughes, thank you and welcome. We also have Kim Kuttner, Margie Schaefer, Crystal Thompson, and Ishan Williams. And I actually am going to give everyone the opportunity to introduce themselves and go through their full bios, but we're going to hold off and do that on the full commission meeting in September 8th. But with all that said, I wanted to just go ahead and jump in so that we can, go back to work. The first thing we need to do is just review and adopt our meeting agenda for today. So it's a quick 15-minute meeting. I believe everyone was emailed the agenda.
Yeah, I'm going to post it in just a second. Sorry. Here we go.
So this is what we're trying to cover today. And as you all are aware, we have to vote on the agenda. So if there are no edits or changes to this agenda, does someone want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Sorry, could you identify yourself?
This is
This
Lana.
is Rick,
making-
seconding.
Great, thank you.
All approve?
Aye.
So I'm going
Aye.
to do a roll call.
Aye.
I do have to do a roll call, sorry.
That's okay.
So Laura Bowser, I'll do it
Aye.
alphabetically. Travonia Brown Hughes,
Aye.
Erin Darner, she's not here. Chris Desimone,
Aye.
Karen Garner, I don't believe she's here either. Rick Jackson,
Aye.
Karam Khan, I don't think he's here. Kim Kuttner,
Here. Aye.
thank you. Carol Manning, I don't believe she's here either. Lori Philippa,
Aye.
Lana Sargent,
Aye.
Margie Shaver. No, she's just connecting to audio. I'll come back to her. Crystal Thompson. Pam Teester.
Aye.
Isham Williams.
Aye.
And Margie Shaver. Oops. Margie Shaver.
Okay, George, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you approve the
Aye.
agenda?
Aye.
Okay, great. So that was all present. Laura? All
Great.
approved.
All approved. And then George, I don't think that anyone submitted public comment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so with that, we'll move on to the main action item for this meeting, and that is the letter of support for UVA NIA's grant submission. And I would like to turn the floor over to Dr. Manning, who can maybe perhaps speak to this letter.
Sorry, just before we do that, Laura, could you just address the minutes from the last meeting?
Oh, do we need to approve them? Okay, apologies.
I think, or defer them until September.
We can go ahead and vote on them, assuming everyone had a chance to review them.
I did not send them out with this thing, so if we could defer them, that would be great.
Okay, let's go ahead and defer them. Do we need to vote on that or?
No.
Okay, great. Is Dr. Manning?
I am. I'm here.
Great. Dr. Manning, do you want to speak to what you are trying to accomplish and sort of the background of the letter of support that we've drafted?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to thank everybody for agreeing to this sort of emergency meeting out of cycle, and hopefully it won't take very long. I think there is a long-standing hole in Virginia in that we do not have an Alzheimer's disease research center there. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I saw George's mouth moving, but I didn't hear him, and I got worried that, okay. So it is, I think it's a long-standing hole in our national system of Alzheimer's disease centers that we do not have one in Virginia. And it has pretty much been a network of same places get funded again and again. When I think that in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we both have a state plan, dementia plan that is far ahead of many other places. We have resources that many other states don't have. I think that we deserve to have an Alzheimer's disease center here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So at the University of Virginia, we are writing a grant to hopefully become one. There's a call for proposals that is due on September 15th. And we are putting in as our particular foci, or there are several things that I think we can provide that other places in the country are not providing, in addition to just covering the state of Virginia and even West Virginia where there isn't one as well. That we are going to focus not only on people with dementia, but on caregivers, because there is not enough attention given to caregivers and the role they play. It's interesting, caregivers are also at increased risk for dementia, so they provide us with the ability to look at people longitudinally who are at increased risk themselves. We also have the ability to, the goal behind the Alzheimer's Disease Center is that we ask people to participate in what's called our clinical cohort. That is people who are interested in being in research or interested in being followed in the long run in terms of either their progression with dementia or their risk for dementia. And across the nation, we do not know enough about Black and brown people in terms of their what the risks are, what the course of dementia is, and the care that they receive. What we do know is that they're at greater or increased risk for dementia. And so one of our goals is to ensure that we include much higher representation of Black and brown people than is the case nationwide. And then, so it's caregivers, Black and brown people, and rural people, because rural people are highly underrepresented in the national data sets looking at people with Alzheimer's disease. And so our proposal is that we are going to focus, everybody's welcome in terms of our who we are going to put into the clinical cohort, who are we going to invite, who we are going to invite to participate. But we think that those can be real strengths in terms of what we can add as the Virginia Alzheimer's Disease Center. And the idea with this is the data that we are collecting are collected for any researchers across the state of Virginia who indicate that they want to study dementia or any things data that we are collecting, and there's a process that they go through to make sure that that the research questions that they're asking are reasonable questions and that they have a good research plan for doing it. But it will help us get additional funding for research and to study these understudied peoples. So what I am hoping is that the commission would be willing to send a letter in support of our application, which I think would be really meaningful to show that we actually have support statewide.
Thank you.
Happy to take any questions or any comments, anything that you would like me to talk about.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that the reason that we wanted to call the meeting now is that the application is due before our next September 8th session. Right. And so our work group had discussed a letter of support. We've drafted it. What you see before you, and I think George is going to share it on the screen in a second, is the draft. So I think what was sent out before did not have all of the new commission members listed, but that's since been updated. So I'll give everyone a chance to review this and ask Dr. Manning any additional questions. Please just make sure your name is spelled correctly.
Yes, my name is spelled correctly. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, everyone's name on the side, I think.
Yes.
Dr. Manning, this is Rick. You mentioned being supportive of research across the state in regards to these areas of interest. Does that mean that you potentially would also be a funder In other words, are you just a recipient of funds or are you also a provider of funds?
So I wish we were a provider of funds. The funds are just so that we can collect the clinical cohort and then the data is available to whomever. But the truth is there is barely enough funding to cover the costs for this. But it is, I think it's very important for us as a state to have an Alzheimer's disease center. The other thing is, although, Rick, I'm sorry, we won't have money to give out, what has been proven true across every single Alzheimer's disease center is that they then are able to get much more those states get much more external funding as a result of having an Alzheimer's disease center. And that's a huge reason to do it. And it's one of those things, it's a club that once you're in the club, you have all kinds of benefits, but getting into that club is really hard.
Right. So how many are there nationally? Are there 5? Are there 10?
No, there are about 30.
30, okay.
Dr. Manning, this is Trevania Brown Hughes, and I just wanted to express to you my excitement about having an ADRC center in Virginia. I worked at Johns Hopkins with Dr. Marilyn Albert. They have an ADRC center, and the closest truly to Virginia is Baltimore. At one point, they did have a center in North Carolina, and it was affiliated with Duke, but I don't believe that they have that center anymore. And it's very interesting because the ADRC center at in Hopkins, their immediate African-American or minority population, of course, they have a large number of African-Americans in the Baltimore area, but Hampton Roads, we're about 30%, African-Americans. So truly, there is a need. And then too, the ADRC Center in Baltimore, they didn't really capture rural America. Many of their studies and their focus was on, urban minorities, but again, I don't think that they would have the same access as an ADRC center through the University of Virginia would have when it comes to being able to reach out to rural Americans. So I think it's an awesome idea. I think that we have the capacity within the state to be able to have a highly functioning ADRC center, and I think that there is definitely a need for it.
So I greatly appreciate your support, and I can tell you that the University of Pittsburgh Alzheimer's Disease Center, for a while, we were a satellite center to them, and our main purpose, the reason we were a satellite center, is that we were able to recruit African Americans, and for whatever reason, they were not. And so we recruited 45 African Americans who stayed with us for over 5 years while we were a satellite center for them. So I think we actually have a track record. I completely agree with you. Hopkins is great, but Baltimore is not a rural place, and we have a lot of rural counties in Virginia, and we have counties in Virginia that have a significant population of African Americans living in those rural counties, and so I think that we actually have a lot to offer.
Dr. Manning, this is Rick. I also want to commend you for the work you've done in the past in rural areas and other federal grants that you've received that I'm aware of. You've done great work in moving outside of Charlottesville. So you have a great track record there as well.
Well, thank you so much. I really hope that the review committee really agrees with all of you.
Yeah.
I think too, this is Karen Darner. I really am very pleased with the letter content and everything. What I was thinking though, and I was trying to get to, I'm not that good at getting to the bottom of the letter with my movements here, but I wanted to see if you included any reference at all to the pandemic and the kinds of things that we've been looking at with people in long-term care, as well as at home, and just to include that as an additional impetus for us to get this kind of facility and programming.
And one more thing I wanted to add, Dr. Manning, I work at Hampton University, and I don't know if you've thought about reaching out to the historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs in the state of Virginia, because I want to say, I know that they're about 3. So a letter of support from them probably could help things. Just a thought.
That is a great idea. And I see Ashan is on. And Ashan is working with me, and she is the core director of the Outreach and Engagement Core. And Ashan, is that something that you have thought about?
Oh, yes. And Travonia, if you would like to be a spearheader in that and partner with me on helping to get that letter. So I've done a lot of work with Norfolk State. We have lots of partners at Hampton University, and I'm in the School of Nursing at UVA. And so I've been thinking about how we could do that, how we could have a partnership letter and where it needs to come from. So I'll be sending you an email shortly just to pick your brain about how we can do that, because I do agree that was definitely one of the things that that I've actually talked about doing in this work. So thank you.
That's a great idea. And to the person that made the comment about the COVID and
yes.
So I wasn't sure, were you referring to putting that in the letter or asking if that is in the proposal?
Well, really to put it in the letter as a reason that we would be an appropriate location, and not necessarily to say that it would be included in the facility, it's in the programming or the research as such, but just to say that that is an additional thing that has come up that we want to be able to cover as many of the population as possible.
And so one thing I can tell you about the proposal is that we are talking a lot about our telehealth efforts, which actually we were doing before COVID, but have been even more helpful in terms of COVID. And as you all know, people with dementia, for their caregivers, it is really hard for the caregivers to get them even to doctor's appointments. And so we have a section of this which is as much as going to be done by telehealth as possible, so that we can provide care and also collect data remotely, as opposed to asking people to drive several hours to get here.
That's perfect. Yeah, very much so.
Well, great. Thank you all. Feel free to keep asking questions and let us know if there's any changes that you would want requested to this letter. Okay.
You need a motion?
Yeah, so I just was opening the floor, but if there are no changes to the letter, then we just need a motion and a roll call to vote to adopt this letter.
I'll move to accept the letter. This is Rick.
Second, this is Karen Darner.
George?
Yep, great. I'll do the roll call. So Laura Bowser.
Aye.
So please answer aye, nay, or present. Travonia Brown Hughes.
Aye.
Karen Darner.
Aye.
Chris Desimone.
Aye.
Karen Garner's not here. Rick Jackson.
Aye.
Kim Kuttner.
Aye.
Carol Manning.
Aye.
Lori Philippo.
Aye.
Lana Sargent.
Aye.
Margie Shaver.
Aye.
Crystal Thompson. I think that was aye. Pam Teaster.
Aye.
and Isham Williams.
Aye.
Great. Motion passes.
Great.
Great. Thank you all. I wanted to just remind everyone of upcoming future meetings. So September 8th will be our full meeting. I look forward to doing a proper introduction with everyone then. And then our last meeting of the year will be December 8th. And I'm just going to open the floor now to any new business. I'll likely, if there is new business, we'll probably defer it to our September 8th, but I do want to allow some space for anything that you want to bring forward. If there's no new business, then I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. And I thank you so much for taking time unscheduled to vote on this important letter.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
everyone.
Carol.
Carol.
I
You
really
guys.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here.
See you soon. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Your way.